Everyone dreams of being rich, but why do so few actually make it? The truth is, it's not about working harder, it's about thinking differently. Today, we're breaking down Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, a book that has transformed millions of lives by showing how the wealthy view money, work, and opportunities. This isn't just theory. These lessons are practical, eye-opening, and can reshape the way you think about money forever. And if you love life-changing book summaries like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss one. Let's dive straight into the first big lesson. The rich don't work for money. It sounds strange, right? Because most of us are taught to work hard, get a stable job, and earn a paycheck. But here's where rich people think differently. Most people wake up every day thinking, I need to earn more money. They trade hours for dollars, but the problem is no matter how much you earn, you're still stuck in the same cycle. Work, spend, repeat. Robert Kiyosaki explains that wealthy people don't focus on earning money for survival. They focus on creating systems and investments that make money work for them. For example, think about someone who saves up $10,000 and buys a food truck. Instead of working a 9-to-5 job forever, they hire someone to run the truck. The truck earns money even when they're not physically present. Meanwhile, most employees would just deposit that $10,000 into a savings account earning very little interest. The rich prioritize assets that generate cash flow like businesses, investments, or real estate, instead of just depending on a salary. So the key takeaway for you is, stop asking, how can I earn more salary? And start asking, how can I build or buy something that pays me even when I'm not working? This mindset shift is the foundation of financial freedom. But here's the thing, if you're going to make money work for you, you need to know how money actually works. That's where most people fail, and it's exactly what Robert Kiyosaki explains in the next lesson. Why teach financial literacy? Earning money is only half the battle. Keeping and growing it is where most people fail. Robert Kiyosaki says, it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. Why? Because people who lack financial literacy often spend as fast as they earn. Even lottery winners and high-income professionals sometimes end up broke because they don't know how to manage money. For example, imagine two friends, both earning $5,000 a month. Friend A buys a new car on EMI, swipes credit cards for vacations, and has no savings plan. Friend B learns how to track expenses, invests in mutual funds or rental property, and builds an emergency fund. After 5 years, Friend A has nothing to show but debt, while Friend B has an asset base growing on its own. That's the power of financial literacy. So the key takeaway for you: learn the difference between assets and liabilities. Assets put money into your pocket. Stocks, businesses, real estate. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. Car loans, credit card debt, big EMIs. Robert Kiyosaki insists, teach this early to kids, teens, and adults, because schools rarely do. Now that you understand why managing money is more important than just making money, let's go one step further. Robert Kiyosaki says, if you really want to become wealthy, you have to mind your own business. And no, he doesn't just mean stop interfering in other people's lives. He's talking about something far more powerful. Robert Kiyosaki isn't telling you to quit your job overnight. He's teaching you to focus on building assets, even while you work for someone else. Most people spend their entire lives building their employer's business instead of building their own. They climb the corporate ladder, but the ladder isn't even on their wall. What does it mean to mind your own business? It means don't just rely on a paycheck. Build income streams that are yours. Real estate, investments, side businesses, intellectual property. Even if you have a 9-to-5 job, set aside time, money, and effort to grow your own asset column. For example, think of someone like J.K. Rowling. She worked as a teacher, but in her free time, she wrote the Harry Potter series, an asset that now earns millions in royalties. Compare that to someone who spends all free time on shopping or TV. One ends up with assets, the other just with bills. So the key takeaway for you is, your job feeds you today. Your assets feed you for life. Don't confuse your profession with your business. Your profession is what you do to earn money. Your business is how you grow money. Now, if you're building your own business or asset base, you'll soon notice something else, the tax man. Robert Kiyosaki reveals how the rich use corporations and tax laws to their advantage, and why understanding this can change your financial future. Let's dive into the next lesson, which is the history of taxes and the power of corporations. Robert Kiyosaki points out that taxes were originally meant for the rich, but over time they've shifted to burden the middle class. The rich learned to play by a different set of rules, using corporations to protect and grow wealth. Why corporations matter? A corporation isn't just for big companies. It's a legal entity that can own assets, earn income, and pay expenses before paying taxes. Individuals earn, get taxed, then spend what's left. Corporations earn, spend on legitimate business expenses, and pay tax only on what's left. This legal structure means the rich pay less tax proportionally, not because of cheating, but because they understand and use the law to their advantage. For example, imagine two people both making $100,000. Employee gets taxed first, maybe 30%, and spends what's left. Business owner with a corporation invests in travel, education, equipment as legitimate business expenses, then gets taxed on the remainder. Same income, but different results. So the key takeaway for you is, taxes aren't bad, but not understanding them is costly. Learn how corporations, LLCs, and legal structures can protect wealth and reduce liability. Now you might be thinking, but I'm not rich yet, how can I use this? Robert Kiyosaki says wealth isn't about having money first. It's about creating opportunities. In the next lesson, we'll explore how the rich don't wait for money to come to them. They invent it. Let's dive into the very amazing lesson, which is the rich invent money. Robert Kiyosaki explains that the rich don't just wait for opportunities. They create them. It's not about having a big bank account. It's about developing financial intelligence to spot and build opportunities. How do the rich invent money? They look for problems and create solutions. Money follows value. They understand investments, real estate, businesses, stocks, and know how to structure deals creatively. They don't say, I can't afford it. They ask, how can I afford it? This mindset opens doors. For example, suppose a rundown property is selling for $50,000. Most people see a headache, but someone with financial skills sees an investment. Negotiate seller financing, little money down. Fix and rent it out for steady cash flow. Refinance later at a higher value. No lottery ticket needed, just knowledge and creativity. So the key takeaway for you is, opportunities are everywhere. Money is not the starting point. Ideas and skills are. Financial intelligence comes from learning, trying, failing, and improving. So far, we've seen that wealth isn't about working harder, but working smarter. But here's the real secret. The rich don't chase paychecks. They chase knowledge. In the next lesson, we'll learn why Robert says you should work to learn, not just work for money. So let's start. Robert Kiyosaki stresses that you shouldn't just pick a job for the paycheck. You should choose roles or opportunities that teach you valuable skills. The rich focus on building capabilities, not just collecting salaries. What does this mean? Don't get stuck doing the same thing just because it's safe or pays well. Learn sales, marketing, investing, management, leadership. These skills compound over time. A job is not the destination. It's a training ground for building your financial intelligence. For example, imagine you're an engineer earning $80,000 per year, but you want to start your own business. Instead of just staying in your technical role, Take a sales job, even if it pays less, to learn how to sell. Later, that sales experience will help you sell your product or pitch investors. This short-term sacrifice pays off long-term. So the key takeaway for you is, focus on learning, not just earning. Every skill you acquire increases your opportunities and income potential exponentially. But even if you're learning all the right skills, the journey to wealth isn't a straight path. Fear, doubt, laziness, bad habits, they all get in the way. In the next lesson, Robert shows us how the rich overcome obstacles while others get stuck. So let's begin. Even if you have financial knowledge, certain mental and emotional barriers can hold you back. Fear of losing money. Everyone has it, even the rich. The difference is that wealthy people manage fear instead of avoiding risk. Cynicism and doubt. What if it doesn't work? Negative thoughts or listening to pessimistic people can paralyze action. Laziness. Sometimes disguised as being too busy with unimportant tasks. Bad habits. Spending before saving. Not setting aside time to invest in learning or opportunities. Arrogance. Thinking you already know everything and missing new ideas. For example, two friends inherit $10,000 each. One says, "What if I lose it? I'll just leave it in the bank." Fear. The other studies real estate, takes a small calculated risk, and grows it to $20,000. Courage plus knowledge. The second friend didn't have less fear. They just acted smarter despite it. So the key takeaway for you is, fear and doubt are normal, but successful people use them as fuel for learning and growth. Build habits that prioritize education, action, and persistence. Now that you know how to overcome fear and doubt, the big question is, how do you actually start building wealth? In the next and final lesson, Robert shares simple, actionable steps anyone can take to get moving today. Even after learning financial principles, most people never start. Robert Kiyosaki emphasizes that wealth building isn't about perfect knowledge. It's about taking consistent, small steps. Key action steps for you. Decide why you want to be rich. A strong reason like freedom for your family or escaping debt keeps you motivated during tough times. Example, a young professional tired of paycheck-to-paycheck stress writes down, "I want my kids to never worry about school fees." That reason pushes him to save and invest. Choose what to learn. Focus on skills that improve financial intelligence, accounting basics, investing, marketing, sales. Example, instead of binge-watching shows, someone spends an hour daily learning about rental properties or stock markets. Start small, but start now. Don't wait for the big amount. Even investing $50 monthly trains your brain and builds confidence. Example, a college student buys a single share of stock to learn real investing rather than just reading about it. Seek mentors or like-minded people. Surround yourself with people who discuss opportunities, not just problems. Example, join an investing club or online community where others share real experiences. Pay yourself first. Save or invest before you pay bills or spend on luxuries. This builds discipline and a growing asset column. Take action. Adjust later. Waiting for a perfect plan leads to inaction. Smart mistakes teach more than endless research. For example, someone wanted to invest but feared losing money. They began with a $100 index fund, learned how the market works, and gradually invested more. In 2 years, they weren't rich, but they had confidence, skills, and momentum that most people never build. Knowledge is useless without action. Even the smallest financial step today is worth more than a perfect plan tomorrow. So pick one thing. Start learning, start investing, start growing. So that wraps up our journey through Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you've been with me till now, you already know it's not just about earning more money. It's about thinking differently about money. Now it's your turn. Which lesson are you going to apply first? Paying yourself first, building assets, or finally taking action? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear your plans. And hey, if you found this video valuable, imagine what's coming next. We've got more life-changing book summaries lined up to help you build wealth, improve mindset, and take control of your future. So make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon, and share this with someone who needs a financial wake-up call. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Take care and stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video.